time. Of course, international recognition, it releases money, aid, it helps reach bilateral deals. It would allow Afghanistan to take part in international organizations. What does it say about the Taliban that it prefers to remove women's rights at home over improving the standards of living for everybody in Afghanistan?
Adnan, thank you so much for having me. Well, yes, the situation in Afghanistan is critical, especially those who are living in Afghanistan. But at the same time, when we read the reports from the UN and we can see what they say, it's a little bit far away from the reality. We understand that the situation in the country for women, especially they're not allowed to study or to work, is critical. But when we come to the situation where reports are written as such, but then at the same time, meetings are get held at the UN, but the current government get eliminated. I think this is where the issue is. We don't have anyone responsible sitting around the table to be putting a finger at and to be told what they need to do. What is the situation at the moment is that Afghan women are suffering, and the situation around the world is a political issue with Afghanistan. I think the world needs to come together and try to listen to the Afghan people, what they want and what the world really wants. Because at the moment we're going round the circle, we're getting reports from the UN, but it doesn't take any necessarily steps that is recommended or needed. We can see the UN is keep writing that the violation is happening, the human rights is getting violated. But the issue we are facing is that why nothing is getting done, why no decision is taking place, why all these reports is written, but at the same time, no action is taken place. I think Afghan people do deserve to be out of war. We have been in the war for the last 40 years. This has been for the last 2 years, the Afghans are not in the war, but the situation in the country is in a critical situation. People are unemployed. Women are not allowed to go to work. Women are not allowed to go to study. I think this situation needs to be solved politically, and one of the reasons I think this pressure that the current government is putting on their own people, which is wrong, I think they want recognition, and like you said, they are far away from to be recognized, and this is something that the world needs to discuss with them.
Diva, I'm not sure if I totally understand if you're saying that it should be the international community responsible for producing the change in the Taliban's attitude towards women in Afghanistan. Because if that is the case, what more can the international community do? It can't sanction the Taliban to the hilt, because that would just destroy the country even more.
Adnan, I'm not saying that this is the responsibility of the international community, but it does come to the responsibility of the current government that they need to lift those restrictions on their own people. But what the international community will need to do is to use a different way of putting pressure on the current government. We know that they want to be recognized. This is where the diplomatic dialogue needs to start. We can see that it's just going around the circle. The current government are saying that we want to be recognized, we are fulfilling all the human rights, we're not violating anything, and these are the issues that we're going to solve internally. But Afghan people saying that, well, yes, we understand that you're trying to solve it internally, but you're not. I think what the current government, the Taliban, are doing is trying to put pressure on the international community to say that you need to recognize us. Once you recognize us, that's when we will allow our own people to go to work and study. And I think they're using it as a pressure point. And this is where the communication of diplomacy needs to happen.
Sure. Diva, can you tell me what women are doing if their presence in public life is practically being erased? What are they doing instead? And still, do you believe many women would like to leave Afghanistan if they had the chance?
I think every single Afghan, if it's given a chance to leave, they will leave Afghanistan, not just because of the security or education, but because of unemployment. Yeah. Women, unfortunately, are stuck inside the house. They're not allowed to work. There are only certain jobs that they are able to take. But then the current government is not doing much at the same time to really find the mechanism of how to solve this issue, because the country is going into chaos, and we are in a situation where people are living on a daily basis. And as I said, they're not leaving the country because of the security issues. They're purely leaving it because of the economical situation in the country.
Diva Patang, thank you so much, Diva. It's always really, really interesting to hear your analysis.